How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to an episode here on Let's Build Twitter. As always, I'm Ethan, or Unknown Coder, your favorite underqualified senior software engineer. And it's been brought to my attention that I've been forgetting to say that if you guys do want access to a private repository, there is a video in the description down below that walks you through exactly how to go ahead and do that. For whatever reason, it's kind of slipped my mind to go ahead and let you guys know that. So for anyone who doesn't have access that wants access, you can go ahead and check out that video. I do want to go ahead and warn you, it isn't free just because I already went ahead and locked it behind a little bit of a membership. That way we have an incentive for memberships on the channel. Just a fair warning, that's how it's going to work, but there is a video in the description down below. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into what we're working on today. Today we're going to go ahead and continue working on our mentions notifications, and good news, people came to my rescue and actually did leave likes, replies, and all of the 9 yards, everything on some of my posts. So that's great. I can actually go ahead and use those in next episodes, but there's a couple things I want to fix. Mainly this should be like a little bit thinner. And then there's also an error inside of our notification slice whenever there's no notifications for some reason. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but I want to go ahead and fix that up as well. And then we're going to go ahead and finish up this page. There's one primary thing that we need to do. Whenever you click on learn more, there's actually a modal that pops up and then it shows some things you click on and it goes away. It's very, very simple. So we're going to work on today. And then whenever we get into all notifications again, there's a little drop down that comes here, but I did some research. It's literally the same drop down that does this with a little bit of extra work to determine whether or not it's you or not. So I'm going to go ahead and work on that. Although this one looks a little bit small, so they might have made some changes to it, but it is what it is. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into the code, get to work, and get this done. Hey guys, Future Ethan here. I just wanted to hop in here and give a quick shout. During this episode, I tried a new recording and editing technique. In the beginning, it might be a little bit choppy, a little bit weird, but it does smooth out as we're going as I kind of figured out a better way to edit this. I just sunk too much time in at the beginning. So I just want to mention that. Maybe things go well with this episode and the next one, maybe they don't and I go back to the old way, but I just want to shout out that I am trying some new things and it will smooth out. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop back into the video. So we're going to want to go ahead and start out inside of our mention notification. Let's go ahead and find that. So source, features, and then notification components. I did fix this, and then mention notifications CSS. So down here inside of our hero text, so let's go down to hero text. We need a font weight of 400. So we'll say font weight 400. Go ahead and save that. And now if we go back to the app, this should look a lot better now. That looks a lot more like it. And then the other thing that I wanted to fix is inside the notification slice. It's not really affecting anything. It's just a little bit of an error that pops up inside the console. So you don't see it now, but I do want to fix that. So let's hop into our notification slice. And inside of our notification slice, we need to come down here to where we are actually, I believe, reading the notifications where the actual logic is. So right here on line 154, action payload 0. The issue is it's saying that payload 0 is undefined. So we want to go ahead and check to see if we actually have some. So we're going to go ahead and say action.payload.length is greater than 0, and action.payload0 notifications is equal to new post. Then if there's nothing inside of the array here, we should just skip over this next part and then it shouldn't be an issue. So that should also fix that up. With all that out of the way, let's go ahead and actually get into the bulk of the work today, and that's going to be building out this modal. So let's go ahead and open up our Explorer here. We can go ahead and get rid of our slices for now. We'll need it in a little bit. We can go into our features. We're going to go to notification, components. Then let's go ahead and make a new component. This is going to be called mention learn more modal slash, and then mention learn more modal.tsx. Let's go ahead and also hit A again. Let's make the mention learn more modal.css. Let's go into the TSX. It's going to be dead simple. Let's just go ahead and import React from React. Let's go ahead and import our bottomless modal component. And it looks like I actually typoed here. So let's go back into our Explorer and rename this. So I want this to be mentions with an S. Let's go and hit R and rename this. I want this to be mentions with an S. So mentions learn more modal, and that's fine. And then same thing here, rename it. And this will be mentions learn more modal. Okay, that's fine. Get rid of the Explorer. Now we can go ahead and export const mentions learn more modal. This will be a React FC arrow function. Then all we're going to do inside here is just return a bottomless modal. And inside we'll have a top bar equal to a fragment. Put top bar inside, and our content will equal to a fragment with content inside. So like I said, this component is actually really simple, but to be able to actually do this, we need to go into our modal slice instead of some state. That way we can actually enable this. So let's go into our modal slice. Inside of a modal slice, underneath our display post more, we're going to want to go ahead and say display mention learn more. This will of course be a Boolean. Inside of our initial state, we also need to go ahead and bring that in. So below our display post more, we'll go ahead and say display mention learn more is false. And then finally, we need to go ahead and set up our last reducer here. So underneath our update display post more, we'll go ahead and make a reducer called update display mention learn more. This will take in our state, and then go ahead and say state is equal to ... state. Then we'll say display mention learn more is equal to not state dot display mention learn more. Then finally, we need to go ahead and return the states, and we need to go all the way over to the end of this. This is getting pretty unwieldy. Let's go ahead and make this into new lines here. So I'm going to just clean this up to make it a little bit cleaner. At the bottom here, we're going to go ahead and say update display mention learn more. And now we're ready to go and set it up so we can actually see this. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and use the modal container that we set up a few episodes ago. So let's go and hop into there. And now we can see there's just a whole bunch of modals that we have pop up. So the first thing we need to go and do is bring in the display learn more basically. So we're going to go and say const display mention learn more. This will also be equal to use selector with state and root state. And here we'll go ahead and return state.modal.display mention learn more. Now we can come down into the return statement and we can go ahead and do a curly braces, and we'll go ahead and say display mention learn more. And then we'll go ahead and say and mentions learn more modal. So now whenever we actually go ahead and set this display mention learn more to true, we'll see it. And whenever we click off of it, it'll also go to false. Let's go and clean this up too. We don't need that there. That's good to go. So now let's go ahead and actually be able to open it up. So once again, let's go into our mention notifications and add an on click listener to that little text that says learn more. Inside mention notifications, let's go above our use effect and make a new function. We're going to go and say const open learn more is equal to an arrow function. And inside, we're just going to go ahead and dispatch. We're going to go ahead and dispatch update display mention learn more. Now we can go ahead and come down to where it says learn more inside of our span. We want to go ahead and add an on click to this. And the on click will equal to open learn more. Now we should be able to at least open this up. We won't be able to close it yet, but let's go into the front end and just see that this is working. So let's give it a refresh for good measures. If we actually go ahead and click on learn more, you can see it pops it up. It doesn't look very good right now, but we'll go ahead and fix that. And you can also see this looks a little bit weird. I'll show you guys how we can fix that in a little bit as well. But let's go ahead and just get the top bar working and we'll continue working from there. So let's go back into our code. Let's open up our Explorer. Let's go into our notification components again. We're going to go and make a component called mention learn more modal top. And then we'll say slash and then mention learn more modal top.tsx. This one I think I did do without an S. I don't think it really matters. So let's go and create it. Same thing here. Mention learn more modal top.css. Let's go into the TSX. This is also another pretty simple one. First, we're going to go ahead and import React from React. Then we need a material UI icon. So we're going to say import close icon. This is going to be from @material UI /icon -material. And then this is going to be /close. Finally, let's go ahead and import the CSS. So import /mention learn more modal top.css. Let's go and export const mention learn more modal top. This is a React FC arrow function. And here, let's go ahead and just return a div with mention learn more modal top. Now it won't be mad at us. Let's go above here. We need to set up a couple things. Let's go ahead and first set up a const dispatch, which is an app dispatch. This will be equal to use dispatch. Then let's go ahead and say const close is equal to an arrow function. Here we'll go ahead and dispatch our update display mention learn more. So whenever we go ahead and hit the close button, it'll go ahead and call close and close the modal. So next, let's go ahead and make a div with the class name mention learn more modal top exit. We'll set up an on click equal to the close function. And inside we'll have our close icon with an SX equal to height of 20 pixels and width of 20 pixels. That should be good to go. I think this is just being a little bit cranky. I'm not sure why it's complaining. Give it another save maybe. There we go. Like I said, this one is very simple. It's just going to go ahead and span the entire top and then go ahead and have a close icon. Looks like a little circle. So let's go hop into the CSS and get this done. For the most part, the CSS is also pretty simple. So let's start with a .mention learn more modal top. Here we'll have a width 100%. We'll have a padding of 12px. So we'll just span the entire top and just add a little bit of padding for some space. Next we'll have mention learn more modal top exit. This one will have width 36px. We'll have height 36px. We'll have our display flex. We'll justify content in the center. We'll align items in the center. We will border none. And finally, border radius 100. And it looks like I spelled justify content wrong, so go ahead and fix that. So basically, we're going to have a circle div that centers the X. Next, we want .mention modal learn more top exit hover. And before we do that, let's fix this up. So this should be more dash top exit, and then .mention modal learn more top exit hover. Here, we'll have cursor pointer in a simple background color of RGBA 000.1. So as long as I spelled everything properly, I think I did now, we can go ahead and bring this into our learn more modal and see what it looks like. So let's go into our mention learn more modal. Now, instead of having the top bar be this fragment, let's go ahead and delete this. And then let's go ahead and bring in our mention learn more modal top. After we save this, we should be able to hop back into our application and see that's working. Now, let's refresh it. Okay, so the CSS isn't quite working. Let's see what happened and went wrong with the CSS. So it looks like this is spelled right. Mention learn more modal top.css. Let's just double check the CSS. Mention learn more modal top CSS. Let's make sure we spelled this stuff right. So let's go ahead and copy this really quick just and double check the CSS. Let's make sure I did this right. Let's copy this, paste it in. Definitely did not do that right. It should be mention learn more modal. So let me fix this. Learn more dash modal top. Fix this one as well. So this needs to be mention dash learn more dash modal dash top. There we go. Now let's take a look. There we go. You can hover, click out of it, it goes away, open it back up. Great. So that's good to go. So now we're going to get into the bulk of our application programming here, and that's going to be doing the content. Fingers crossed it doesn't take too long because we're already getting close to 20 minutes on my recording. I don't want these episodes to be too long, but let's hop back into the code and get to work on the content. So once again, let's go into our Explorer. We're going to go at A, and this is going to be called mention learn more modal content. And then slash mention modal learn more content.tsx. Go ahead and hit A again. Then we'll have our mention modal learn more content.css. Let's hop into the TSX. Let's just go ahead and say import React from React. Let's go ahead and export const mention learn more modal content. This is a React FC arrow function. And to start out, let's just go and return a div with a class name mention learn more modal content. So that's good to go. Now let's go ahead and set up a couple other things. Let's go ahead and just say const dispatch is app dispatch, which will be equal to use dispatch. Once again, we're gonna have a close function, so we'll say const close is equal to an error function. And inside, it's gonna go ahead and dispatch update display mention learn more. Cool, so now let's go ahead and get to actually working here. Let's go ahead and start out with an H1 with a class name of mention learn more modal content title. So this title is going to say, let's get you out of this conversation. Below this, we'll P with a class name mention learn more modal content text. Here, we're going to say sometimes you just don't want to engage. Leaving a conversation will ... Then we're going to go ahead and set up a couple other things. So let's set up another div with a class name equal to mention learn more modal content group. So we're going to group some things together here. We're going to have a div that's going to stay empty for now because we're going to go ahead and put SVGs in there. We'll grab this in a little bit. Then we're going to have a div with a class name mention learn more modal content group text. Inside here, we'll have an H2 with the class name mention learn more modal content group heading. And I'm totally missing all of the modals in here. I'll have to come back and fix those. This will say untag your username. And then inside the div, we'll say your username stays, but it'll be untagged from the original post and all the replies. Before I forget, let's go and add modal to all these. So this one should be learn more modal content. This one should be learn more modal content. This once again should be more modal content. There we go. So that's good to go. And now the reason I said that is because what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and copy this guy. Actually, we're going to go ahead and grab the entire content group. We're going to grab this whole content group here, copy it, and we're going to go ahead and paste it here. Inside this div, we actually have this SVG. We're going to say block SVG. Height will be 24 and the width will be 24. We're not concerned about the color, it'll just be black. And then here, instead of untag your username, let's go and get rid of this. This will say stop future mentions. Then let's go and get rid of the text from the div. This will say people can't mention you again in this conversation. Then we have one more group to do, so let's paste that in again. We have to create this SVG2, so we'll grab that from Twitter in a second. Now, instead of untag your username, let's just say stop notifications. And then instead of saying this, let's go and get rid of your username stays. This one will say you won't receive further notifications, but you can still see the conversation. Then we have just one more thing to do here. So we'll go ahead and outside of the content groups, we're going to go ahead and add a button. This one is going to have a class name of mention learn more modal content button. And I just realized I completely forgot to put modal in all of these. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. Cool, that's all good. Our button is going to have an on click equal to close. And inside the button will say got it. And then under the button, we're going to have a P with a class name equal to mention learn more modal content disclaimer. Inside this, we'll say no one will be notified if you leave a conversation. Then we're going to have a span with a class name mention learn more modal content underline. And inside this is going to say learn more. There's a really high chance I typoed something in all of this CSS, so we'll have to kind of figure that out in a little bit. But let's go and just add this into our learn more modal. So let's go back to learn more modal. And now instead of this content fragment, let's go and get rid of this. We'll go ahead and say mention learn more modal content. Before we style it up and create those new SVGs, let's go ahead and just take a look at what this looks like. So now you can go ahead and see all of this, and you can see we have an issue here. We'll fix that in a little bit of a second, but you can see all of our information. We're going to make this pretty. So let's go back into our code. Let's go ahead and open up our Explorer. We're going to go up to our components in our SVGs. We're going to go ahead and create a component called untag svg.tsx. Let's just go ahead and import SVG props. Then let's export default function untag svg. We need to make sure to add in our props of svg props. And then here we're going to return, and we need to go ahead and get the SVG from Twitter. So I'll show you guys how to do that. Let's open up Twitter really quick. Again, shout out to everyone that helped out. We're going to go into mentions. We're going to go into learn more. I'm going to go ahead and right click and inspect. Go ahead and go to inspection, and this one we want the untag, so I'm going to go ahead and grab the SVG, right click, and then I'm going to go ahead and copy element. Then we can go ahead and paste it in there, and then we can go ahead and return that. Let me go ahead and prettify this a little bit. Well, it looks a lot better. We need to get rid of this class. We do not need it. Then we need to go ahead and set up our props. So let's go ahead and say that the height is equal to props.height. Let's say width is equal to props.width. And then inside the path, let's set up our fill. So let's say fill is equal to props.color question mark. If we set the color, we'll say props.color. Otherwise, we'll just do black. Cool, there's one. Now we need to go ahead and set up the next one. So let's open up our Explorer again. Let's go ahead and hit A, and this one is going to be called Do Not Notify SVG. And here, let's go ahead and import our SVG props. Then let's go ahead and export default function, Do Not Notify SVG. Inside our function, we'll go ahead and say props are SVG props. And then let's go ahead and return. Once again, let's hop on to Twitter. If you guys didn't know, these are free. You can just borrow them. Actually, shouldn't say that. Elon, please don't come after me. I'll go ahead and copy the element. Let's go and paste it in. Let's go ahead and clean this up a little bit. All right, so let's go ahead and get rid of the class again, like we did before. And then we can go ahead and set up the height and width. So once again, we'll say height is equal to props.height. We'll say width is equal to props.width. We'll set up the fill again. So down here, we'll say fill is equal to props.color question mark. If we have a color, we'll set it to props.color. Otherwise, we'll do black. And just like that, we have our SVGs. Not as bad as it was before when we had like 900 of them. So let's go ahead and bring these into our component. So let's go back into mention, learn more modal content. So here at the top one, we'll go ahead and bring in I believe this one is untagged. So go ahead and bring in untag SVG. Here our height, once again, will be 24 and our width will be 24. And then down here, we'll go ahead and bring in the do not notify. Once again, height will be 24 and width will be 24. So that's this component finished. Now we do have quite a bit of CSS. I'll try to get through it somewhat quickly here. I know this episode's getting a little bit long, but we're almost done. We're kind of at the fairway here. So let's go ahead and go into the CSS. So first off, we'll start with mention, learn more modal-content. Here we'll have width 100%. We're going to have padding is 24 and then 80. And then we'll have margin 0. So basically we're going to have a little bit of padding on the sides, a lot of padding up and down. Next we'll have dot mention, learn more modal content title. Hopefully all of this is spelled right inside there. So margin will be 0. Padding will be 0. Well, font size 31px and font weight 900. Then we'll have a mention, learn more modal content text. And this should be content title. Just make sure we fix that, otherwise I'll be scratching my head. Here I'll have margin 0 again, padding 0. We'll have font size 15px, font weight 400. Color 657786. And then margin bottom 32px. Next up, we have mention, learn more modal content group. Here we'll have width 100%. We'll have display flex. Gap of 16px. Justify content flex start. We'll have align items flex start. And again, we'll have margin bottom 32px. Next up, we'll do mention, learn more modal content group text. Here, margin 0, padding 0. We'll have a color of 657786 again. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy this one, grab it from here. Let's go ahead and come back down here, just paste it in. It'll be a little bit easier. Font size will be 15px. We'll have font weight 400. We'll have display flex. We'll flex direction column. We'll justify content center. And we'll align items flex start. Sounds good to go. Then we're going to have our mention, learn more modal content group heading. Here we'll have margin 0, padding 0, color black, and font size 17px. Just a couple more here. Let's do our mention learn more modal content button. Here, width will be 100% again. Height will be 52px. Border will be none. Border radius will be half at 26ps. Background color will be black. We'll have color white. And the font size in this will be 17px. Then we'll have our mention learn more modal content button hover. Pretty standard hover here. We'll have cursor pointer. And then we'll have a background color of RGBA 000.9. Then we'll have our disclaimer. So mention learn more modal content disclaimer. Here we'll have font size 13px. Font weight 400. Once again, we'll have our gray color. So let's go back up here. Let's go ahead and copy it. We'll go ahead and paste it down here. So under our font weight, paste that in, format it. That looks good. We'll have text align center. And finally, we have our mention learn more modal content underline. Here, we'll just have color black. We'll have text decoration underline. And we'll have cursor pointer. Normally, this underlying content thing would go somewhere, but we're not going to set that up. But let's go ahead and take a look one last time what it looks like before we go ahead and wrap up the episode. I do have one more thing. I know it's getting a little bit long, but there's one more utility thing I want to do. Let's hop into the front end here. And it looks like we did screw something up, so let's just double check everything. I believe these are all good. Mention, learn more modal content. I'm guessing I misspelled things inside the actual component. So let's see, mention, learn more modal content. Let's double check the CSS. And let's make sure we actually import the CSS. I don't actually see it here. Let's go ahead and import the CSS. So import mention learn more modal content.css. Let's mention modal learn more content. I don't know why I did it that way. There we go. It looks a lot better. Now we do have an issue here, and I think I forgot to go over it, but you can see that we have this weird thing. Let's go into the post CSS and fix that. We need to come down here to replying to user. Z index, let's set to like 5, I believe. Now it goes away. You click got it. You can open it. Open this, it's good. I need to make sure that this is cursor pointer. I can look into that really quick as well. So this will be inside of our mentions notification.css. And this is learn more or something like that. Or maybe underline. Let's go ahead and put a cursor pointer on this. Check it out one more time. Looks a lot better. Now the last thing, right now we don't actually have any notifications, but this little dot's not going away. So that's the one I want to go ahead and fix lastly here. And I know we're probably going a little bit over time, but I'll try to make it as quick as possible. So let's go back into our code one last time. Let's go into our navigation.txs. Then in here, we're going to go and set up some state. So below our notifications, we're going to say const new notifications and set new notifications is equal to use state of a number. This will start out as 0. We're going to get rid of this show new number bubble. It's going to break for a second, but it's fine. In its place, we're going to go ahead and set up a const calculate new notifications, which is equal to an arrow function. And here we're going to say const all notifications is equal to an array. Inside the array, we're going to say ... notifications.postActions notifications. We're going to say ... notifications.mention notifications. So we're going to say ... notifications.follow notifications. Okay, so those are all of our notifications. Now we're going to say const unread notifications is equal to an all notifications.filter notification. We're going to go ahead and filter by not notification acknowledged. So then we have all of our unread. So we're going to go ahead and set new notifications to unread notifications.length. Next, we need to go ahead and actually calculate these. So we're going to go ahead and say use effect. Inside the use effect, we're going to go ahead and calculate new notifications. And we're going to go ahead and watch for whenever notifications follow notifications.length changes. We're going to watch for notifications.mention notifications.length to change. We're going to watch for notifications.newPostNotifications.link to change. And finally, we're going to watch for notifications.postActionNotifications to change. So if any one of those types of notification arrays get added to, we're going to go ahead and calculate the unread notifications again. And then to wrap up, we're going to go down to where our notifications are again. So here, instead of show notifications in the circle icon, we're going to go and get rid of this. And we're going to go ahead and say new notifications is greater than 0. And if that's the case, we're going to have a div with a class name, navigation count wrapper. Inside, we're going to have a P with a class name, navigation notification count. And inside, we're going to have curly braces, and this is going to say new notifications less than 10. If that's the case, we're going to go ahead and pass in new notifications. Otherwise, we're going to say 9+. That's finished. Let's go into the CSS, set this up. Let's scroll down to the bottom here. Let's set up navigation notification count wrapper. Here, we'll have background color of #1DA1F2. We'll have height 18px. We'll have width 18px. We'll have position absolute. We'll have top -12px. We'll have right -8px. We'll have display flex. We'll justify content center. We'll align item center. We'll border none. Border radius 100%. And then z-index 10. Then we'll do navigation notification count. Here we'll say font size 10px. We'll say margin 0. Padding 0. Color white. If for some reason I couldn't quite get the center perfectly, so we're going to say margin bottom 1 and margin left 1. So as it stands, we're not going to have any notifications. So if we come back in here, you can see a notification went away. So I'm going to go ahead and restart the server and actually make it so we can get some notifications to pop up here again. So restart the server. Good to go. Let's restart our application. Let's make a post, making a post to reply to. Send the post. Let's go into Postman, make a reply with Morty. Now you can see it says 1. It still doesn't look perfect, but if you come in here, it'll be fine. Whenever you go to mentions, it should read it. Maybe. If it did, we might need to work on figuring out why they didn't go away immediately. It did before. Maybe it was just a fluke, but this episode's getting really long. I keep trying to say that I'm gonna make them shorter and shorter, and then I keep getting longer and longer. So I need to figure out some way to actually determine what a good cutoff point is. But that's gonna wrap up this episode. I'll figure out what's going on with the notifications there. It was working before. Not sure what's going on now. But if you guys did enjoy, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. As always, it helps out with the YouTube algorithm. If you guys do want to see where this started from absolute nothing to where it is now, there's a playlist in the description down below that walks you through starting this from absolutely nothing to where we are at this point. So if you are interested in that, you can check that out. But as always, guys, I appreciate you all for watching, especially if you got to this point. This has been Ethan on Coder. Have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.